But let's start off with, the Antonio Brown situation. I mean, from Sunday when he left the field to now, and with all the different things that went on, with the OnlyFans model, and now with him obviously getting released in the middle of the week. I mean, what do you guys think of the whole situation? I mean, there's a lot that went on.
I mean, where do you start with all of this? I mean, this is obviously it's a wild story, and I'm sure we're all aware of what happened on Sunday. But since then, there have been a couple. Last Sunday we were totally caught off guard, and we're like, "What? Why is Antonio Brown doing this? This is unbelievable." But I mean, he gave us some reasoning on Monday, I believe. He sent out a whole statement with the Buccaneers forced him to play on an injury, and that he needed surgery and he wouldn't go in, and because he was hurt. And then Bruce Arians told him to get out of here, so he just left and didn't want to wear their brand on his body, so he just took his jersey off and chucked his shirt into the stands. And now recently he went on a podcast, and pretty much just, I think the most egregious part of this is that he just totally bashed Tom Brady and really is just shooting himself in the foot once again in front of our eyes. I mean, when you talk about this, like, Tom Brady had his back. Like, I think with the antics that Antonio Brown pulled, Tom Brady almost had every right to be furious, but he took the route of, we all love him and we hope the best for him. And then he just comes back and he bashes Tom Brady. And he's just, saying a lot of, self-centered things. I mean, it's just the crazy quote that, they didn't ask Antonio Brown to come clean toilet bowls. They asked me to come win a Super Bowl, which, I mean, to be honest, Buccaneers, they probably could have won that Super Bowl last year without Antonio Brown. But yeah, I just think the line for me was the disrespect to Tom Brady. And I was almost taking Antonio Brown's side. I was leaning that way, but I mean, Danny, now I'm just not leaning that way. I'm not really supporting what Antonio Brown's doing right now.
I don't know if I could have said it better myself. When he came out with his statement and go, they forced me to play injured and all this stuff. But then after that, shut up, stop talking. You got America on your side. Everyone was going, oh, what is going on with the Bucs? Is there some stuff that we're not hearing down there? But at this point, Antonio Brown is a psychopathic liar. And I think it's plain and simple. There's not much more to add. The dude lies about vaccine cards. He has so many allegations that have been set his way, and I don't want to get into that because that is a completely different subject. But this dude has a history of making just absurd remarks and comments and lying. I think I don't know if there's anyone in the NFL that I would expect this to come from. It is Antonio Brown. And he proved to me this weekend and over the course of this week why he is the most insane player in the NFL. It's not insanely good. He is just insane. He is a good player and was at one time looked at as a potential Hall of Famer. But the dude is a psychopath, and I don't know if you can re-image yourself, rebuild your brand after going and bashing Tom Brady. Tom Brady at one point was the most hated player in the NFL, and I think it's probably widely agreed upon that right now Tom Brady is the most loved player in the NFL and one of the most loved players in NFL history. So to go bash Tom Brady is, like you mentioned, it's egregious. I don't know how you can do that if you're Antonio Brown.
And yeah, no, I think you guys both really said it the best. I think, first of all, just talking or just speaking out against Tom Brady, the one guy where, I mean, think about this. In the same post-game conference, Bruce Arians was just straight up just said he's no longer with the Bucs. But Tom Brady right after just said, I think we need to show him some compassion, and to really go on a podcast and really speak out against a man who really vouched for you and just wanted everyone to just show him some love. I think that just really speaks a lot and just speaks tremendous volumes against his character. And even when you put that aside, I think when you look at the fact that, just that unexpected and just that, the behavior of him just leaving the field and just walking out of the stadium. And also on top of that, him bringing over someone else who later tested positive. I think you guys probably read this, where he brought over, the model, and they obviously did whatever, and later she posted that she tested positive. I think that right there, he just put his entire team in jeopardy and at risk. And given just sort of those actions, I think that just really just impugns upon his overall character and overall player profile, because I think he said in the same podcast you guys mentioned that he wanted to further play. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's Antonio Brown. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, let's move on to Aaron Rodgers.
Actually, Gokul, before you move on, I gotta is Antonio Brown ever going to play in the NFL again? I think that's just the biggest question surrounding all of this. I gotta say no.
If I was a general manager or an owner of any of these 32 franchises, I am not touching Antonio Brown with a 10-foot pole at this point in his career. I think he's a great player, but if you look at where he's been over the course of his career, everywhere he goes, the locker room falls apart. He is an absolute locker room cancer, and I don't know why any GM or any owner or any coach or any player at this point would want him to be their teammate.
I mean, listen, to the biggest Antonio Brown supporter out there, I mean, do you really think that in these last 3 years with the Steelers, the Raiders, the Patriots, and the Buccaneers, I mean, do you really think that the coaching staff and the team environment was all the problem there? There's a commonality here, and that Antonio Brown is involved in all these scenarios. So you have to imagine that it's something. Getting Antonio Brown on your team, it comes with a price. And as good of a player he is, which he's a great player, but he brings a lot of controversy. You think the Buccaneers want to deal with all this right now? No, this is a massive distraction and just a PR nightmare. So regardless of all his talent, and he's ambitious, he wants to come back and play. I just don't think any team's going to go for this. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you guys. I think given the sort of injuries that the Bucs went through, they don't want to go through a PR nightmare and a liability like Antonio Brown. And it was definitely very smart of them to just, release him from his team, because I think they can handle themselves very well without him.